Do it yourself and doing it wrong.
Just when you think it couldn't get worse, it becomes a lot worse.
How a man's attempt to tow a car became a hit and run with plenty of property damage. A case of grand theft fire truck.
Negative. Somebody stole our fire engine.
See what's left in the wake of this 35,000-pound joyride. A stolen puppy and a trail of surveillance video. It's the twisted tale of a pilfered Pekingese and how Molly made her way back home. Tonight in the Spotlight. We begin with the search for this convicted rapist who should be in prison, but was mistakenly released from custody. This is Noel Stepney. The 49-year-old has multiple convictions dating back to 1991, but his most recent crime is by far the worst. Well, good evening, I'm David Rose, and thank you for joining us for the Spotlight. A King County jury found Stepney guilty of rape in the second degree. Despite that, he's been out on the streets since July 26th. He was convicted of a rape that happened in Seattle back in 2019. A woman saw him in the laundry room of her building and asked him to help her lift a heavy TV into her apartment. Once he got inside, he put his hand over her mouth, raped her, and left behind his DNA. He threatened to hurt her and kill her dog if she told anyone what happened. Well, she contacted police, and the State Patrol Crime Lab confirmed the DNA belonged to Stepney. He was convicted in June, but was not remanded into custody. Because of that, Stepney's pretrial bail of $75,000 remained in place. He posted it and walked out of jail. As soon as prosecutors realized what happened, a bench warrant for his arrest was issued on July 28th. Police are still trying to find him. Stepney's facing more than 13 years in prison once he's caught. If you see Noel Stepney, please call 911. Well, you've heard the expression, if you don't succeed, try again, unless you really have no idea what you're doing. As you're about to see, that appears to be the case in a failed attempt to tow a car in University Place that left a business all smashed up. When a Pierce County Sheriff's deputy responded to a call about a car that had smashed into a restaurant in University Place, he found the glass shattered and significant damage. Surveillance video shows why. A driver who'd left his car in front of the AutoZone next door came back at 3:45 a.m. in a white Honda Pilot to tow it. It takes him until 5:15 a.m. before he starts to pull it from the parking stall with a tow strap. But he only makes it to the other end of the parking lot before it snaps. He tries to hook it up again, but the car starts barreling down the parking lot, with the desperate driver racing alongside it, trying to stop it, before it plows right into the lobby of the business.
Just when you think it couldn't get worse, it becomes a lot worse.
Deputy Carly Capetto says the driver then backs up to try to tow it again.
Hooks it up inside the restaurant to pull it out of the restaurant, and gets again to the other end of the parking lot when the tow strap breaks a second time, and that vehicle comes barreling down a second time and hits like a beam, a retainer wall from that restaurant, and completely crushes the front end of this vehicle.
And he doesn't stop there. This time, he uses a really long tow strap and starts dragging it through the parking lot.
It finally gets stuck against a retention wall and a curb, and that tow strap breaks a third time. And essentially at that point, I think the driver and his female passenger realize that this is a total loss at this point, and they flee the scene. Deputies are investigating the incident as a hit-and-run collision and asking for your help to identify them. The lesson that we really want the public to learn is that there are proper ways to tow a vehicle and safe ways to tow a vehicle. And if you don't know how to do that, you could reach out to any tow company or the sheriff's office. We can provide you resources on how to do that.
University Place deputies are asking for your help to identify both suspects and to find their white Honda Pilot. If you know who they are, you will remain anonymous when you submit a tip to Crime Stoppers of Tacoma Pierce County. King County Sheriff's deputies are hoping you can identify this suspect in a gas station robbery. Watch as he walks into the Shell station in SeaTac on May 20th. After he gets to the counter, you can see him starting to struggle with the clerk. Some hanging products get knocked off as he pulls away. Then he bends down to pick something up that fell and then races out the door. SeaTac police say he got into a van that is similar to an early 2000s Chrysler Town and Country. And here's a look at close-up shots of his face. If you know his name, please call the King County Sheriff's Office at 206-273-8255. 296-3311. A $10,000 reward is now being offered in a string of arsons across South Seattle, and one of those fires destroyed a funeral home. Seattle police have now released surveillance video from that case showing the suspect in the early morning hours of July 30th. He appears to be wearing a backpack and carrying around shopping bags. He has some kind of blue head covering. A traffic camera captured this video of the Columbia funeral home in flames. This historic business dates back to 1907. The president of the funeral home says he doesn't know what would motivate someone to torch it.
It's just another sign that we have a broken world and people are broken and hurting. I was just concerned about our decedent's safety.
The funeral home had 8 bodies and at least 100 urns in their care. Unfortunately, none of those were damaged. Well, since July 23rd, there have been 6 fires in the Mount Baker and Columbia City neighborhoods. The first one happened in a bathhouse at Mount Baker Beach. The most recent happened on July 31st at a detached garage and apartment on 17th Avenue South. Of the 6 fires, investigators have determined 4 of them were intentionally set. The other 2 are considered suspicious. It's unclear if the fires are all related, but investigators are looking for possible connections.
There's certain types of accelerants. I know arsonists have their methods. They have certain ways that they like to start fires. So if we see some of those connections, the fire investigators are going to get us that information. They're going to provide that to the detectives, and we're going to work that. Into our investigation.
Well, here's a look at the damage to the funeral home, estimated at $300,000, and another look at the suspect. The Arson Foundation is offering $10,000 for information that leads to an arrest. You can submit a tip by calling 1-800-55-ARSON, and you can remain anonymous. Who killed this young man in Federal Way? That's what detectives are hoping you can tell them. 21-year-old Hamzi Elmi was shot multiple times last February 1st. He was found in the 31,000 block of 9th Avenue South at 11:40 p.m. Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound is offering a $1,000 cash reward for any information that leads to an arrest. Call 1-800-222-TIPS. You will never be asked to give your name. Pierce County prosecutors have charged a couple accused of stealing a woman's puppy. What makes it worse is that Fife police say the suspects told them they know what it feels like to have a dog stolen because it happened to them, and yet they still admitted to taking the little Pekingese.
Take a look at Molly. She was just 19 weeks old when she was stolen from an elderly couple's home in Fife back in June. I posted her photo and the suspects' descriptions all over my social media, and tips started to roll in, identifying them as Sally Miller and Robert John. Detectives say they knocked on the couple's door and offered to fix some scratches on the roof of their car for a fee. After seeing that John had simply used a can of spray paint, the owners refused to pay because of the poor work. That's when police say Miller grabbed Molly, and the two left the home in their black Tesla with tinted windows. Seeing their description, employees at Petco came forward with these images of Miller with Molly leaving the store after allegedly not paying for vet services. Then a tip with photos came in showing John carrying Molly while leaving a store, followed by Miller. Investigators say Miller stole the dress she was seen wearing when she left the Petco store. Again, they got into their black Tesla and left. Detectives also located other surveillance video, like this one from Starbucks, that shows John letting Molly run around without a leash. The video was slowed down so that investigators could ensure it was John and the little stolen dog. He watched as the puppy goes up to say hello to some strangers. That same camera also got a good look at Miller, even zooming in on her to show her dress and face. Fife police also got these body cam images from Federal Way Police. They show John and Miller 4 days after Molly was stolen, handing off the puppy to each other as they talked to an officer. They had been trespassed from a store for shoplifting. Still, Pierce County prosecutors sent the case back and wanted even more evidence. So Fife Police Detective Selena Benales found the couple on Pacific Highway East and interviewed them. She says they immediately knew what she was asking about, and both said, "We gave it back," with John adding he got upset they were not going to pay him. He then said, "You know what? And I took the dog." They both said they knew how it felt because they'd had a dog stolen from them. He told Detective Benales, "We went back there. We gave back the little dog. They were happy guys. I talked to her. I apologized." Yes, they gave Molly back, but her owner says John showed up with his head and face covered in bandanas. Molly's owner says he told them, "I'm not a thief. I took your dog because I thought it was sick and needed to go to the vet." Nobody is buying that story.
Robert John and Sally Miller were released at that time pending charges. Now they have been charged with theft in the second degree. They've both been ordered to appear in court. I'll keep you posted. A suspect accused of shooting and killing a woman in a Costco parking lot in Tukwila has pleaded not guilty. In court, the victim's daughter did not hold back her emotions, telling the judge she wants everyone to see that suspect's face. Investigators say this shows surveillance video of 20-year-old Salman Haji, the man in the red hoodie, and his co-defendant Ilyas Abdi walking into a QFC on January 26th of last year, less than an hour later. Police say they went to a Costco parking lot in Tukwila. Look closely, you'll see the victim's white Porsche pull up to a blue car. Investigators say Haji and Abdi approached two sisters loading groceries. Haji and Abdi are accused of robbing them and beating one sister before shooting and killing the other, Mingwan Wong. Days after the shooting, investigators say Haji boarded a flight. He wasn't found until more than a year later. He was captured in Kenya thanks to an investigation between the FBI, Tukwila Police, and the government of Kenya. In court, the defense asked Judge David Keenan to not allow our camera to show Haji's face. The judge heard from both sides, and then Wong's daughter, Zoe, wanted her argument to be heard.
My mother was murdered in the public by this guy, and he should not be shielded from the public now. He is a male adult, he's not a kid. I have the right to see the murder of my mother, and so does the public. That's what I require. I am trying very hard to keep myself steady at this point, but at least what I have to get is to see him. He should be brought out now, and I have to see him.
Judge Keenan ruled he would allow our camera to show his face. Haji is facing first-degree murder, attempted robbery, and other charges. His bail of $5 million was maintained, and a trial date has now been scheduled for September 22nd. As for the other defendant in the case, Ilyas Abdi, he's also facing first-degree murder charges, among others. He's expected back in court on August 25th. Well, the mother of Oakley Carlson, who was 5 years old when she disappeared in 2021, has now served her time in prison for an identity theft conviction. Jordan Bowers was set to be released in late July, but that got delayed as the Department of Corrections searched for a bed for her in a halfway house. She's wrapping up a 43-month sentence at the Washington Correction Center for Women in Purdy. Bowers and Oakley's father, Andrew Carlson, are suspects in their daughter's disappearance. Neither have cooperated in the investigation. I spoke recently with Grays Harbor County Sheriff Darren Wallace on where that investigation stands.
We just don't have enough evidence to arrest her or Andrew Carlson, the parents. We need some physical evidence, and that evidence that's missing is Oakley Carlson. So unless we find the body of Oakley Carlson or evidence supporting, like a big blood pool or something like that, supporting that she's dead, we just don't have enough to arrest them at this point.
There has been discussion of prosecuting the case as a no-body homicide. I also talked with Jamie Jo Hiles, the foster mother who raised Oakley before the state forced her to give up custody to Bowers and Carlson. Jamie tells me she doesn't want prosecutors to rush the case.
I want there to be sufficient evidence, and I want it to be where I know that we're going to win in a court case, and it wouldn't ever put us in like a double jeopardy situation. So I prefer if we were to go something where it was a for sure deal that we feel good that we would win in a no-body homicide. I don't want to rush and just take a lesser charge.
Grays Harbor County Sheriff's detectives are hoping a new public awareness campaign will help solve the case of what happened to Oakley. 13 digital billboards are going up with her photos and a $100,000 reward offered for tips. Meanwhile, I've learned Jordan Bowers is now engaged to a man from Minnesota and wants to have more children. She was posting on cagedladies.com looking for pen pals, but a source tells me she met her new beau through another inmate. Seattle police have arrested a woman in connection with a deadly stabbing. 35-year-old Jordan Weichert is being held on $5 million bail.
Based on the information contained in the super form before the court, the state is asking the court to find probable cause for one count of murder in the second degree.
On July 14th, prosecutors say 55-year-old Ramon Aragon Garcia was killed in the Soto neighborhood near the stadiums. Deputies in the area found him inside a van, lying in a large pool of blood, stabbed multiple times in the chin, nose, head, thigh, and arms. The van was parked near a Goodwill that captured these surveillance images of the suspect, including the treble clef tattoo on her neck. Anonymous tips helped Seattle police identify her. Officers tracked down Weichert on July 29th on Southwest Bradford Street. She was riding a bicycle, and police say she tried to run over an officer to escape. Prosecutors say she has 5 felony convictions, including 3 for vehicular homicide and 2 for vehicular assault. When detectives tried to question her, she invoked her right to remain silent and asked for an attorney. A grandmother from Tacoma was heading home after a visit to Seattle when she was suddenly shot in the face with a pellet. It happened on July 11th as she was driving through the Pioneer Square neighborhood. As the Spotlight's Jennifer Dowling reports, the woman didn't know what hit her until she went to the doctor.
We had a great day at Pike Place Market.
Edith Oppenheimer celebrated her daughter's birthday at Pike Place Market, her grandkids seeing it for the first time.
We had so much fun walking through. The girls loved it.
The family started the drive back to Tacoma at around 5 o'clock.
The windows are open. It was a beautiful day in Seattle on Friday.
As they neared Pioneer Square and I-5, passing near the stadium's train and bus station, something smacked into her face at around 4th and Jackson.
And I just felt something hit my cheek.
Edith managed to pull over safely despite the pain.
And I put my hand to my cheek and my arms are just covered in blood.
Her daughter called 911 and police and EMTs arrived quickly to help.
They asked me if it was a bullet. Who gets hit by a bullet? It's like, nah, it was a rock or something. Because we were in shock.
When she got back to Tacoma, she went to urgent care where doctors determined it was no rock.
The doctor came and numbed my face and pulled out this pellet. Then it became very real. Then I thought it was very real, and I started shaking and tearing up a little.
The pellet or bullet had hit her cheekbone and bent on impact, as shown in this photo.
I have a pretty good black eye, and my cheek is pretty swollen and puffy.
Her cheekbone was shattered.
It's hard to chew. It hurts to laugh.
She's asking anyone with video or information on who's responsible to come forward.
If anybody saw anything, we need to stop these people.
For the Spotlight, I'm Jennifer Dowling.
Everett police are trying to track down a thief who stole a fire engine, then went on a destructive rampage. This happened the night of July 18th. More than a dozen cars were smashed and property damaged in 5 locations as the suspect tore through the northern part of town. As the Spotlight's Jennifer Dowling reports, the damage estimate is upwards of $1 million.
We are getting a report of a vehicle that crashed into multiple vehicles. Did you guys get hit by a vehicle?
Negative. Somebody stole our fire engine.
This was one of the 911 calls that came in after Everett police say a thief smashed a nearly 35,000-pound stolen fire truck into 10 vehicles before crashing to a stop on Marine View Drive.
The Camaro was the first car it hit.
Neighbors captured the aftermath on video.
Well, that's the front end of my truck.
Joseph's pride and joy, a lovingly restored vintage truck.
Yeah, I had it for 35 years. And yeah, it was sad to see it go that way.
Was one of the casualties.
You can see the marks on the curb over there where it slid over and it bent the front steering on it.
This yellow Camaro belonged to John Wallleitner.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they demolished it, didn't they? I'm devastated. You know, it was the only car we had, you know. I've got surgery coming up Monday and nowhere to get there, So we're kind of stuck right now in a bad situation.
Fire officials say the engine was stolen from Hoyt Avenue as it sat running outside the Art Space Apartments while crew members were on the 5th floor responding to a call out for someone with trouble breathing. Soon after, damage reports rolled in at 5 locations with property and 14 cars damaged at spots along Hoyt Avenue, Alverson Boulevard, and Marine View Drive.
Ran into the mailbox, ran into the retaining wall right there.
Just started nailing cars right there. Boom.
Charlie says the cars look to be a total loss.
A lot of them are down in the pile under this fire truck.
They weren't wrecked, they were demolished.
As for how it happened, spokesperson Rachel Doniger says it's common to keep engines running.
Our fire apparatus are left running because there's a large draw on the battery system with the light bars and equipment.
Though it's unclear how they got in.
Sorry? Were the doors unlocked? I don't know how we got in. We're evaluating our policies about leaving an engine running and unlocked or locked.
Police did bring in a canine.
They took the sniffing dog to check the truck out.
However, the suspect got away.
Too bad they didn't catch him, but thank God there was nobody in any of the vehicles.
For the Spotlight, I'm Jennifer Dowling.
Well, it's no doubt that this thief has bragged to somebody about what they did. If you have information on who's responsible, the Everett Police Department has a tip line where you can remain anonymous. The number is right there on your screen. Plus, they welcome any video footage of the crash, the pursuit, or the person running from the scene. Tacoma police rescued a man from a cliffside in Point Defiance Park with the help of some search and rescue dogs. Take a look at this body cam video as officers help Gary Chrisman up a steep slope after he was found clinging to roots. Family tells us Chrisman suffers from memory issues and disappeared into the heavily wooded area during a visit to Point Defiance Zoo with his wife and grandkids. Well, the family was later reunited with the rescuers, including the German Shepherd search dogs team. After Chrisman went missing, Smitty and Fenrir were brought to the scene to follow his scent. And it was Fenrir who followed his nose into the woods and found Gary on that cliff.
I was not only happy, I was thrilled because we love dogs. We've had dogs a lot. Shepherds are our favorite. And I thought, now that's a good thing.
We wouldn't have found him without Fenrir, so we're really, really blessed. So the goal was
Well, the family gave Fenrir and Smitty a box of treats and some tennis balls as a thank you. And that does it for the Spotlight. Until next time, please stay safe.